Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion in the Gujarat Titans beating the Delhi Capitals by 14 runs. And I kind of consider this as a minor upset in no disrespect to the Gujarat Titans. They've got some real match winners in their squad. But after the auction, there was a lot of talk about the fact that they probably hadn't done that well, and certainly I had rated them bottom in terms of auction performance, not because of their bowling and certainly not because of the match winners that they have invested in. I think that's all the good sides. But in the batting, there's certainly, for me, too much on paper, especially too much of a question mark, especially with the consistency of three of the players in their top six. And also, you've got the likes of Hardik Pandya, who hasn't played cricket for so long until this tournament. And yeah, really, that was pretty much Matthew Wade playing the IPL for the first time. What were you going to expect from him? So I think there was too much of an uncertainty around this batting lineup, but they've got some positives to take from these first two wins and beating two of the better sides in this competition, the Lucknow Super Giants and the Delhi Capitals, albeit not at full strength. I think that on average missing two key players. I don't think Mitchell Marsh is going to feature in this tournament based on the injury updates we're receiving. So I think that for the Super Giants, you've got Jason Holder and Marcus Stoinis, and for the Capitals, David Warner and Andrik Nokia. Despite that, though, I think the skills really exhibited by the Titans, especially with the ball, they blew the Lucknow Super Giants out of the water in that first game, and also took 3 wickets in the power play in this game. And I thought for the second innings, the Delhi Capitals looked like they were in pole position to really complete the chase successfully. And towards the end, the Titans really rallying together and making sure that they finished the game off. 14-run win for them, a great win for them. And I think for the Delhi Capitals, it looks a bit more flattering than it actually was in those last few overs. Apart from a partnership of 61 for the fourth wicket, they lost wickets at regular intervals. And even then, they could have won the game. There was not really much scoreboard pressure. They were facing a good attack, yes, but they still had batting depth, at least until what you could say until number 8. But they'd lost quite a few wickets at regular intervals, and that was pretty much the reason for their defeat. And regarding the starting 11 for both teams, Gujarat Titans are going with an unchanged 11 from their previous game, and Mustafizur Rahman in for Kamlesh Nagarkoti for the Delhi Capitals is their only change, and that would certainly bolster the death bowling. So Rishabh Pant won the toss and chose to bowl first, and apparently there was a bit of confusion over whether he was going to bowl or bat. And again, I didn't see the toss live. I saw the match live, but not the toss. So I don't exactly know what happened, but for me, if he had said that he's going to bat first as his first response, then I think that should have been taken, personally. It worked out well in the end because Hardik Pandya said that he wanted to bat first anyway, and since Rishabh Pant chose to bowl, then it kind of worked out. But yeah, that's what I thought of that. And I think for Matthew Wade and Shubman Gill walking out to bat and the first wicket falling in the third ball of the innings. And this wasn't a great dismissal for the team, and for two reasons. One, the shot itself. I mean, there's a difference between setting the tone and just doing that. Even if it had gone for a boundary, I wouldn't have been too impressed with the shot. And Matthew Wade trying to ramp/padu Mustafizur Rahman over a delivery from Mustafizur Rahman over Rishabh Pant's head for a boundary. It didn't work. He was caught behind, a very ugly dismissal. And two, if you're looking at consistency, Matthew Wade, Shubman Gill, Hardik Pandya are probably the three players you'd expect consistent runs from in this batting lineup. And I think you'd need at least two of those three to fire every game in order for them to post good totals consistently and chase totals consistently. You'd think that if Shankar's going to have a good season batting at number 3, but if you think the likes of Miller, Tewatia, and Abhinav Manohar is fairly inexperienced at this level, if they provide good scores as a bonus, then it'll make the three's jobs a lot easier. But it's the main core of that batting lineup is Wade, Gill, Hardik Pandya. So they're gonna have to have really good seasons, and it didn't help that he got out early playing that kind of a shot. There's a bit of a partnership of 42 between Shubman Gill and Vijay Shankar. I think Vijay Shankar started off okay, but afterwards he just couldn't get the ball away. 13 of 20 was dismissed by Kuldeep Yadav, who bowled well today for 1 for 32. I thought his first 2 overs were better than his second, but I think overall his bowling card, he bowled better than what his card shows. And really, the backbone of this innings was Shubman Gill, 84 of 46, probably the best innings I've ever seen him play in white ball cricket. He was sublime today, and really, apart from him, no one else got that kind of strike rate, you'd think. I mean, they were lucky that he went at 182.6, because then it was David Miller, 133, 20 of 15, Tewatia 175, 14 of 8. So even those two with the highest strike rates, it's not like they got too many runs as a collective. Hardik Pandya scored 31 of 27. Now, I think it's great that he's batting at number 4. I think he can allow him to take responsibility, really audition for the Indian side as well. And if there's a number one thing I was looking forward to watching in this IPL, it was to see how Hardik Pandya goes about his cricket in terms of his bowling, batting, and his captaincy. So certainly him batting at number 4, really giving him an opportunity to play an innings where he just switches gears. And with 33 of 28 and 31 of 27, he's had an opportunity to do that, but he's got out at critical times. He's been batting really well in both innings, but he hasn't really got the strike rate, he would admit that. And with getting out at those times, it didn't really help things either. And so I think that there are quite a few positives with his return in the last few games. Certainly his bowling today was excellent. 1 for 22, bowling 4 overs in both these first 2 games, and scoring 2 30s as well. So I think that, and 2 wins for his side, I think he'd still be quite happy about how things have gone. But he would have probably wanted to increase his strike rate in his innings that he played, or stick around to really catch up, increase his strike rate after that point. So that was his innings, and really this innings revolved around Shubman Gill, just like how Ishan Kishan scored 81 to get Mumbai into 177 in their game against the Capitals. Shubman Gill scoring 84 to get them to 171 for 6. And I think that as a viewer, based on how the last game in this ground had played out, 210 the first innings, you thought they'd got at least 10 or 15 runs short, despite the fact they have a really good bowling attack. And I think this was where the Gujarat Titans management probably knew something the viewers didn't. And it's because Hardik Pandya wanted to bat first, because he said that the dew probably wouldn't play a part or a huge part in this game, and it didn't. Gary Kirsten kind of also said the same thing in when he was interviewed during the first innings. And so for 171 for 6, there may have been a thought to say they should have got a bit more, but yet they would have been really happy with their total. And I think with the way they went out to defend it, with the way that they did that, they got the job done in the end. I think that we have to give them credit for that. And the bowling figures for Delhi, Mustafizur Rahman 3 for 23 in his 4. Great figures for him. I think they could have got a bit more runs off him in his last over, but he got 2 wickets, only gave away 4 runs though. And Khalil Ahmed, I think that he's had 2 really good games in his first 2 games in this season. I think it was much better than what the card shows, 2 for 34, that too getting the wickets of Shubman Gill and Hardik Pandya. Kuldeep Yadav 1 for 32 in his 4. Thakur, you could say a bit of an off day again, none for 42 in his 4. And Akshar Patel, you could say it's a rarity to see him concede 8 runs and over, let alone just slightly above 9. So a bit of an off day for him, but overall it's another case where the batting side have been happy with what they got, and the bowling side have been confident that they could chase this down. And that lets me go on to the second innings. And the first ball of the second innings was a cut shot from Prithvi Shaw, a boundary off Mohammad Shami. And I think Delhi certainly they had that air of confidence that they were still be able. They felt they'll be able to. They felt they'll be able to chase this total down, and they once again lost 3 wickets in the power play. But even then, just like the Mumbai Indians game, you never really got this feeling that there was a panic mode. Ajit Agarkar was also interviewed in the second innings when those just after those 3 wickets had fallen, and even he kind of said the same thing. And the partnership between before I go into that, I think that Hardik Pandya getting Tim Seifert, a delivery that kind of went into middle and leg, bowled at a good slash hard length, you could say. And he was caught by Abhinav Manohar, so that was a good piece of bowling from Pandya. Ferguson getting 2 wickets in an over, pretty sure for 10 off 7, trying to pull him and was caught at square leg. Pull the delivery, the short delivery was caught at square leg, and then there was Mandeep Singh, who was batting well, so had scored 4 boundaries, but was dismissed, caught by the keeper. So 34 for 3 they were at, I think, in 5 overs. And Lockie Ferguson was beating those two for pace. A partnership of 61 ensued between Rishabh Pant and Lalit Yadav, and I think that was the point, especially when you thought the Delhi Capitals were on track to chasing this score down. Rishabh Pant 43 off 29 all in all. Lalit Yadav playing second field for 25 of 22. And I think that the dismissal that really changed the game at that point was, or really re-sparked the fall of wickets at regular intervals. The run out of Lalit Yadav in the over where Shankar was bowling. I think that Vijay Shankar was lucky in the end that he'd only taken 1 bail off rather than 2 when trotting on the stumps, because then it would have been a bit awkward considering he scored 13 off 20 and then 14 runs in his only over. That to a dismissal which wasn't to be. So luckily for him and the Gujarat Titans, they got that wicket of Lalit Yadav, which only sparked the fall of wickets. Rovman Powell 20 off 11, he was going well, but then in his 12th delivery, bowled LBW by Mohammad Jami, and he was dismissed fairly later on in the piece when he was probably the only recognised batsman left. And once he was dismissed, it was pretty much game over. Rishabh Pant dismissed slightly before him, and there was a double wicket over once again in Rishabh Pant and Akshar Patel being dismissed by Lockie Ferguson. So 4 for 28 for him, a magnificent bowling performance from him. Rashid Khan 1 for 30, Hardik Pandya excellent 1 for 22, and Shami wasn't at his greatest today, but I think it's the last over kind of rescued his figures a bit. 2 for 13 is 4. And in the end, a bowler like Varun Aaron, who you'd think would bowl 4 overs, he didn't have to bowl 4 overs because he had 1 over from Shankar and 1 over from Tewatia. So overall, a really good win from the Gujarat Titans for the majority of the second innings. Even when the wickets are falling, there wasn't really too much scoreboard pressure, and so you thought that the Delhi Capitals still had quite a bit of a chance. But the accelerated fall of wickets, really just the fall of wickets at regular intervals, either side of that 60-odd partnership, did not help their cause at all, and they would be really disappointed by this loss, considering if they had won this game, they'd be thinking we lost 3 wickets in the power play in both games without David Warner being present in the side. We won the first game from absolutely nowhere, and we could have easily got bowled out in this game, but we just held our nerve when we were losing wickets, and we frantically got over the line. And our bowling seems to be quite good even without Anrik Nokia. So I think they could have still gone down that route if they had won these 2 games, and they could even still go down quite a bit of that route now. Lalit Yadav with a match-winning contribution in his previous innings, plus a 25 in this one, and run out with a fairly unneeded dismissal, not because of kind of playing a bad shot. And so certainly the Delhi Capitals wouldn't be worrying at all, but they would have really wanted to win this game. The Gujarat Titans, I think that there's still a fragility in their batting lineup, and I think that, as I said, there's the 3 players I mentioned at the start of the video. They would be the ones that you'd think would have to perform consistently for this team. But if they set up a decent foundation and one of them really switches gears and also is able to bat through to the end or the majority of the innings, if someone like a David Miller, Rahul Tewati, or Abhinav Manohar, or even Rashid Khan, if they all combine and just gives you that finish, then you've got the bowling to defend totals or prevent opposition from getting to those big totals. So overall, I think this team, if their batting shows more resolve on a consistent basis, then this team are quite a tough team to contend with. And yeah, that's on this game. I guess I didn't really spend too much time reviewing this game. I think that overall, I mean, I really think it was quite a good thing for the Titans to beat Delhi Capitals. I was thinking that the Delhi Capitals, considering it was on a Pune track, I thought the Titans with their bowling, I thought that with their bowling attack, they still had an advantage over other teams. To say they may not get as hit around on a flat track as other teams would. But at the same time, I thought the Capitals seem a much more complete side than the Titans, which is probably true. But with the outright match winners the Titans have, when they fire, especially with their bowling, they can beat any side, and that's what they did today. So really well done from them, and on to the next game tomorrow, being the Chennai Super Kings versus the Punjab Kings. Now, I think that with the bowling of Chennai Super Kings and the Punjab Kings, there is one phase where you'd actually think CSK may be able to have an advantage. And from the previous game, if Dwayne Bravo and Pretorius bowl through a lot of the middle overs, I think that they have a bit of kind of a difference-making thing where they could maybe to take the pace off and, of course, really draw the batsmen to false shots. Now, both these batting lineups are fairly confident ones, and I would actually say, especially for CSK, I'm really impressed with that batting lineup. And I think that the one advantage CSK have with the ball, albeit not a great bowling attack, is that through the middle overs, Arshdeep Singh, for example, would bowl at the top and at the death. I'm not sure how he would go in the middle phase. I still think he's one of the stars of the IPL. He's been around for 2 seasons, and yet he's outbowled a lot of the more red ball orientated bowlers in India, for example, Mohammad Shami, etc., where they've shown a volatility in the T20 format, as I've said before, where they've bowled well with the new ball, struggled with the death. Arshdeep Singh has bowled. He's been good with the new ball and has been excellent at the death. So and bowls in the low 140s as well. So such a commodity that Punjab have within their ranks. So certainly their death bowling with him and Rabada is looking fairly assorted. But the one thing they don't have is, apart from Rahul Chahar, they don't have anyone in the middle overs that can take wickets. If CSK can capitalize on that, get quite preferably for CSK, I reckon, bat first, and if they get Dwayne Bravo, Dwayne Pretorius to bowl those changes of pace in the middle overs, maybe they could finish the job they didn't finish off against the Lucknow Super Giants. And if they are chasing, I think that they'll back themselves as well. So I'm sure this game will have about 400 runs scored overall, and let's see how it goes. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Please share this video with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?